Having coffee, Mark Romig. What's the title you go with all the time?
Well, I'm with the New Orleans Tourism Marketing Corporation.
Okay.
I've been there about 6 years.
The New Orleans tour, and so you develop all like you put fleur-de-lis everywhere. Is
Well,
what you do.
we are the city's domestic leisure travel promotion agency. So what we're doing is putting out messages around the country to visit New Orleans, to get people to come to New Orleans as opposed to another city, because we want them to be spending their money in our city
Here as opposed to
Charleston
somewhere else.
Or somewhere else, yeah.
Gotcha.
Very competitive.
Because I saw your promotion recently in New York in the subways.
Yeah, we
did
the great rollout of some great photography of the city for a whole month.
It's so cool. Like you're in the subway.
And it's all New Orleans.
And it's all New Orleans.
Right. We had 9 million impressions, 9 million eyeballs saw that over that month. Yeah, and it was great because it was a takeover of every conceivable sign location in that major subway stop in the middle of New York, and it just fell into our laps. We took advantage of it. We had some great photography and we put it up, and
it's just
it's beautiful.
So how long have you been doing this now? You were like,
I actually
do you not want to say?
No, but I came full circle because I graduated from the University of New Orleans with a degree in hotel, restaurant, and tourism, and then I sort of creeped away from that area of concentration. Then I came back, and I've been doing this particular job since 2011.
2011. Okay. All right. So, but weren't you involved in like the World's Fair?
Yeah, I worked at the World's Fair. I was director of protocol and guest relations.
So that's going.
That's 82 to 84.
Yeah, that's when I was born.
Look, I just turned 61, so you can count the years. It's like dog years. You know?
But I mean, is it fair to say that the World's Fair was kind of the beginning of the Disneyification of
stepping off point for me? I met some folks at the World's Fair. It brought me to Washington D.C. Got some experience up in the Capitol. Came back to New Orleans. Went to work for Peter Mayer, advertising, running the public relations department. I had a number of tourism clients at that time, so I was in tourism to some degree, consulting and advising. Then did some client work and was offered this position in 2011 and took it.
You know, one of the things about tourism in New Orleans, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or pat me on the back if I'm right, but I kind of see like, okay, so here at St. Roch Market, like this is a beautiful place and it's a beautiful structure, and the businesses we have in here are awesome. But I get to, as a local person, have like a little business here, and where a coffee shop might not survive if we didn't have the tourists, or this whole building essentially. People knock this place as being for tourists, but really, and especially me with the coffee shop, I see more local people maybe than tourists. But does tourists subsidize our lifestyle here? Is that a fair way to say it?
Tourists help the neighborhoods. What we've done over the last 4 or 5 years is that we've done a major pivot. We talk about the French Quarter, we talk about the downtown areas of the city, but we've also been more fair, I would say, to the neighborhoods, to the mid-cities, to Bywater, to the Faubourg Marigny, to Magazine Street, to the lakefront, to really open up the city to the visitor.
Right.
Because there are so many things to do in New Orleans.
Oh, you can spend your lifetime
Our surveys say that 90% or more of the visitors that come to New Orleans will be in the French Quarter at some point. So they're getting a lot of love.
Yeah.
What we want to do is get some of this spending out into the neighborhoods.
But it's very interesting. I guess, okay, you went a different way. Let me go back the other way, because I brought, I have a 1.5-year-old son, and we brought him to the aquarium. And, New Orleans is a small town, but we kind of get to live in a big city and have world-class stuff, not because we're visiting that aquarium all the time, but because tourists are visiting that aquarium. So it's like, I guess what I'm saying is like we kind of get a subsidized lifestyle with that.
Oh, I think New Orleans offers so much for people like you and me who live here and can experience just wonderful attractions.
If we didn't have the tourists, we wouldn't have that aquarium.
I would think you're right. I think we would have some things that most municipal centers have. You'll have a zoo, but maybe you wouldn't have the aquarium.
Right.
You certainly wouldn't have the National World War II Museum.
That's incredible.
Now that's here for historic purposes, as well as the fact that it's an attraction that has brought many people into the city. But it's also done something to put New Orleans on the map as it relates to an international attraction.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because that's my next question. International attraction.
Yep.
This is not... And this is me not knowing anything about what's going on in the background here. I'm reading the newspaper and I'm seeing direct flights in from Europe, I joke, and it's a joke, but it's not a joke. We see 5 people from Australia here every day in this coffee shop. We're becoming an international spot. Is that by design? Are y'all behind the streams pulling that?
No, 300 years almost. 2018, as you know, is our tricentennial. We're celebrating 300 years as a city. Over 61 nations can be counted in the course of those 300 years of having some impact on New Orleans. We've always been an international city.
Okay.
We've always been a city that has the allure of all the things that you'd want out of a United States city, but we have those touches of European aspects. We've
French,
got a great
Spanish.
Asian community here, a Spanish community. So New Orleans has always been that international destination. And now with British Air starting their service in March, Condor will be flying to Germany in May, nonstop to Frankfurt. Copa Airlines into Central and South America.
You can
Air Canada's been flying
and
to Toronto.
as locals, we can take advantage of that because we can fly out to Germany tomorrow and be back the next day.
And
or
what has
whatever.
New Orleans given the world? Jazz.
Yes.
Jazz is beloved everywhere in the world, and people want to come to New Orleans to see where jazz was born.
Gotcha.
Also, something interesting that I'm learning more and more about is that New Orleans really gave the world the cocktail.
Yeah, yeah.
Ann
who was on the show.
Fantastic.
You can check out Ann's
a great
episode.
entrepreneur of festivals. I mean, she really has taken Tales of the Cocktail to the galaxy.
As I get like bigger and bigger guests on this show, it's so funny, which I think you're a huge guest. It's funny to see like bigger guests always reference all of my other it's fun to see that.
Well,
I'm glad
yeah,
I have a good group of people that have been on the show.
We're your groupies now.
Yeah.
But New Orleans is just seen as a world-class city. You know, we certainly are not going to say we don't have issues here. We do have issues. Every urban center has the issues, but we want to work through those. We want to build a better community, and of course, our job each and every day as an economic development corporation is to get spending here in the city as opposed to another city.
Right. So I guess, what would you say to, because they got the film tax credit thing to bring the film industry here. They've got the software tax credit, which I would think would be better because we're actually bringing jobs to stay here as opposed to the film credit. Tourism is quasi like that. It's a little bit of we have it today, but will we have it tomorrow?
Well,
no?
I think you will always see New Orleans as that welcoming city. It's some say the largest industry in New Orleans. We have 85,000 plus people working in the area of tourism from around the greater New Orleans area, 1,400 restaurants in the greater New Orleans area, 38,000 plus hotel rooms. Attractions, one recently announced this week, the Sazerac House is coming to Canal Street.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is a huge plum for New Orleans, and another reason for people to want to visit. The Bourbon Trail in Lexington, Kentucky, and Louisville, Kentucky does unbelievable tourism business. Here we'll have a similar situation where people will be able to come and understand the creation of the Sazerac and all the history.
Because everyone loves to come here and drink, right?
Well, responsibly. But my sense is that...
So my question is to you...
We're building a very strong industry. We can keep building a very strong industry here.
You can keep it. Is it... And then I guess so maybe you did answer my question. I'm saying, is that the best industry that we should be going after?
I think we should go after all the industries.
All the industries,
I think tourism is just one of those mainstays. It's like that stool, and it's a very strong leg of that stool. People have to come visit the city before they move here.
Right.
So tourism kind of gives that environment for people to enjoy the city. Very few people will come here and say, I never want to go back to New Orleans.
Man, I've never heard
60+% of our visitors are repeat visitors.
Man,
they keep coming back.
The people that I have regular tourists that come and get coffee. Like when they're in town, they come get coffee.
And as our educational system improves, as our medical delivery system improves, as our quality of life improves, people will stay here. And I think that you're seeing tourism being the sort of the doormat or the front door to welcome people in, see the environment, and maybe make that decision to relocate their business, their family, and be part of the greater New Orleans area.
I'm certainly seeing it. I'm seeing it here. I'm seeing tourists that are I have a lady from France. She was coming through. Now she lives here.
Well, glass half full always with me. I'm the eternal optimist, and I think that if we keep a very positive attitude about what's going on here, things will work their way.
So you're promoting the tricentennial. You're pushing it. You gave me this cool tricentennial pin.
Right here,
that is
right
super
there.
cool. And I'm kind of excited too. There's something about, wow, 300 years.
No, look how good we look, huh?
Yeah. You know, like 300 years, like we have trees in the city older than most places in America, and so like it's such an interesting.
Well, it's a way for us to not only celebrate 300 past years, but also to look forward. What is the future going to look like for New Orleans? And I think you're going to see the direction of where the mayor's going with this, and the commission is to be forward-looking, commemorate the past, but let's use this as a stepping off. What do we want this city to be for the next 300 years?
Yeah.
We've got lots of issues at work. Coastal restoration.
Will the land
do have to
physically
deal with
be
that
here?
issue.
Right.
So I think it'll give an opportunity for a lot of good conversation. There'll be some events that people will be looking forward to participate in. We're going to have Navy Week again. We're bringing the ships
Navy
in.
Week again. That was super cool. Navy Week was great.
The arrival of many ambassadors and ministers from those various countries that have participated in New Orleans over the last 300 years. They'll be guests of the city in the spring of 2018. We're going to be announcing some other programs in the next couple of months that I think will get people really excited about participating. Awesome.
I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
And I tell you, talking about downtown and talking about the area, you're right. I mean, and I think you hit it up a little bit earlier, but the tourist flow this way has been incredible. And I mean, I guess maybe the streetcar plays a lot into that. Rampart Street's beautiful.
Do you see
it's beautiful.
A number of people walking from Elysian Fields? And
a number? Do I see a number?
So they're coming this way.
I see plenty.
It would be nice to see that extended
I would love to see
Poland Avenue.
Yeah, to get it down to Poland. I guess Press Street tracks. You know anything about that?
I understand conversations are happening, but even having it to that point at Elysian Fields is wonderful.
I mean, you've got St. Charles Avenue and St. Claude Avenue.
And look,
those
the
RTA,
the bus line here is on a regular basis too.
Oh yeah, but let's face it, and I'll say it, I love that streetcar,
and
I think the street, man, they just glide down the street, and they add to the streetscape. They're inviting, like you say, they're in New Orleans. They're inviting. They're welcoming. And I love the red. I like the red streetcars. I think they're great. And I mean, like, to have people like, it not only shuttles. I use it to go to the city hall from here. It's great.
It's easy.
It's super simple.
Easy.
Yeah.
And then you get the one-day pass for $3.
$3 and you ride it everywhere you want to go. It's great. But to bring that down to St. Claude, because definitely Marigny Bywater certainly has a lot to offer the city as far as
I love the New Orleans Healing Center right across the street. They've done some great work.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So but it's good to see that you're not just focusing on just the French Quarter.
We've learned that there's so much more to see in New Orleans. We have 70 plus neighborhoods. We have an accessibility positive situation. You can get around the city pretty easy.
Oh yeah.
So let's get the spending.
Shoot, I live way down in the lower 9th Ward, almost Araby. I'm over by Jackson Barracks, and it takes me 15 minutes by bike to get to the French Quarter.
It's interesting to have discovered that area recently with the Battle of New Orleans bicentennial,
and that was super
people
awesome.
that really took that trek down to the Chalmette Battle.
It's great. It's super.
It's up a lot
that
eyes to that area.
Oh yeah.
And what the lower 9 has been through and how they're fighting to come back.
Yeah.
A lot of good things happening down there.
Yeah, super awesome. Coffee drink of choice.
Love it.
What you got? What are you drinking?
This is the Olay.
Cafe Olay?
Yeah, I've got a little
coffee and
milk
chicory
in there.
Cafe Olay.
That's right.
So you're an old New Orleans guy. You grew up
I'm an old-fashioned. Read the newspaper in the morning, have my coffee.
I liked having the newspaper, and I'm with you on that. I like to hold the paper as well. The phone just doesn't do the same as the newspaper. I like to get out and walk out.
Spread it around the bed.
Yeah.
I do that. Yeah, David and I do that all the time.
Spread the newspaper out and just like, all right, here's this. I like to have
did you see this story? Look at that story. Oh my God, look at that.
My breakfast. I like to have the paper.
Can you believe that photo?
And I think that. You think media's? Because I think the newspaper is such a should be the de facto thing. Like the newspaper is like the phone's great for instant updates, but like when I want something thorough, the newspaper is what I want to.
In fact, we're living in a new media era.
It's a new media. You're on YouTube right now.
You grab what you can where you can get it.
Yeah.
I think the paper newspaper plays a role. So does the digital world, and we've seen that in advertising. when we started moving down this road of opening up the city, we really went all digital, and
Yeah.
then we realized there was some print that we still need to touch because there are some people who still want to touch print.
Right.
But for the most part, we're digital in our presentation of New Orleans.
And how the digital presentation.
Because of the social sharing. I mean, from that, people are sharing the story of New Orleans. They're sending
sending pictures, Instagramming. It's such an Instagrammable city,
It
too.
is amazing. And the photography that we see, the city is just so rich in
all
visuals.
And all that kind of stuff. Clancy Dubos was on the show, and he was talking about how it's so easy to put together.
A fraternity brother of mine.
Oh, is
he?
University
of New Orleans.
He was talking about how it's so easy to put together Gambit because the city's so rich in when they go talk about Arts and Culture magazine and other places in the country, everybody's complaining that they don't have enough content to fill it. And he's like, we got content to fill it. We got more content to fill it. And so I guess you put all of that out on Instagram.
Clancy and Mark have done a great job with Gambit.
Yeah, it's but it's exactly what you're saying. There's so much to put out there, blast it out there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're definitely, clearly a major success because you've been in tourism this long, and we see nothing but tourists.
Well, we want to do it responsibly, and I think by having people come here and spend money in our city as opposed to another city,
I feel like it gives. I feel like it gives us a great
tax revenue into our state.
And I think it raises our quality of life by having great attractions, by having cool things like St. Roch Market, things that we may not have the resources for without being subsidized by some tourist money coming through, and we get to enjoy it.
And I want to do a plug for the New Orleans Convention and Visitors Bureau. They have been doing this for decades, and they do so well. They do so well across the United States. They're world renowned. They have offices in countries around the world inviting people internationally. And so we partner with them. We do the domestic side as far as the leisure travel promotion. But Stephen Perry and his team have been just fantastic, and they continue to hit it out of the park.
It's super interesting to watch. It'll just play out. And then I get to see all the Australian people in here.
That's
it's
right.
Unbelievable.
Australia is growing.
It's huge. We see tons of them. It's insane. It's wonderful.
And we believe the Chinese market will be blowing up in the next several years.
Really?
They expect like 20 million Chinese to visit the United States in the next 5 years. And we need to be ready for that.
And then you're preparing the city for that.
The New Orleans CVB, Stephen Perry's team, has a department strictly dealing with international visitation, and they're working there.
It's crazy to see it's cool to talk to you and get all this behind the scenes. This just doesn't happen. People just don't show up.
Well, if you're not out in the market talking about your city or your destination, you're going to drop in awareness. So you've got to maintain that awareness at all times.
And I think I read something online that New Orleans has a better brand globally than Facebook.
I had not heard that, but
I was
I'll go with that.
I'm like, wow. Yeah, everybody loves it. It's super cool. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Take care. Come back and see you soon.
I will. Thank you very much.
Take care.